Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to After GMS. I'm Stacy Spivey here in the studio and joined by Megan Malaris and Trey Kirksey working from home this morning as we continue to practice social distancing. This is a time where we love to connect with you guys out there, so continue to weigh in on our conversations. But we do want to start off with weather because I'm telling you guys, I am so tired of the rain. It just seemed never ending yesterday.
Yeah, the rain has just been coming down in buckets over the past few days, but we will start to see some improvement beginning today and on into the weekend. For right now, I think we'll see a little bit of sunshine as we go through the middle of the day today before our rain chances ramp back up again through the afternoon on into the evening. Could even see a couple of strong storms later on today, with high temperatures ending up in the mid to upper 70s in most spots, but a few lucky neighborhoods may sneak up to 80 degrees or so, even warmer for the weekend with high temperatures in the low to mid 80s. But we'll have to continue to see a chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm at any given time through the day on Saturday and on Sunday. So we could see a shower or two in the morning. We could see another thunderstorm or two in the afternoon. If you have outdoor plans this weekend, just a good idea to keep an eye to the sky just in case, and really continue to do that on Monday as well, with that chance of rain at around 20%. Temperatures cooler Monday before we start to see a warm up as we go through the middle of next week.
All right, so not looking too bad for Memorial Day weekend, but Megan, let's jump right into our first conversation this morning.
Yeah, let's jump right into that. It's right up Trey Kirksey's alley because NOAA just released its latest predictions on the hurricane season ahead. Hurricane season officially starts June 1st, as you might know, but we've already had some disturbances in the Atlantic. So NOAA is now predicting an above average season, anticipating 13 to 19 named storms with winds of 39 miles per hour or higher, of which 6 to 10 could become hurricanes, which means 74 miles per hour or greater winds. The NOAA forecasts that there could be between 3 to 6 major hurricanes, and those storms that could reach category 3 or above could really leave an impact. On my Facebook page, I asked you, what hurricane do you most vividly remember? George said, although it didn't hit here, I would have to say Katrina. I saw New Orleans about 5 years after it hit, and a lot of it was still boarded up and trash piled on curbs. It was definitely heartbreaking and something I will never forget. And then we heard from Beth, who remembers a hurricane hitting in 2018. Florence, it was the storm that would not go away. She took our shingles off the roof of our place at the beach, and the rain wouldn't stop, just now finishing up from that disaster. So sorry that happened to you, Beth. So glad you and your family are okay. I vividly remember Florence and covering our extensive coverage of that here on WFMY News 2. But for me, I most remember Hurricane Matthew from 2016. I was at the coast reporting. That was my first hurricane reporting assignment. I remember we had to sign waivers at the hotel saying we understood there was a mandatory evacuation and we were okay going in anyway and staying, knowing that emergency personnel might not be able to get to us if there were an issue. So that's one I most vividly remember. And then after we were at the coast, we had to go inland because of the devastating flooding impacts it left. So again, a good reminder that hurricanes don't just affect coastal towns. They also can leave horrible impacts in the form of flooding, which is the deadliest weather phenomenon in the U.S., inland as well.
You know, I've never lived on a coastal state before until now, so I've never kind of lived through a hurricane season. I know that, I've seen what it can do, but never personally have lived through it. So hopefully it won't be bad this season, but I'm going to toss it over to the expert, Trey, to weigh in on this conversation.
Well, yeah, as Megan mentioned, the flooding threat is so understated when it comes to tropical systems. We've had tropical storms that have done more damage because of the flooding than some hurricanes have done. As far as memorable hurricanes, I think as a kid in Alabama, Hurricane Opal would be the one that comes to mind. I lived in North Alabama, but it was moving so fast it still was technically a hurricane when it was approaching my hometown. And since I've been here in North Carolina, of course, we have Hurricane Florence. That was a very unusual one due to the fact it kind of stalled out over the Carolinas. And then living in Texas a few years after Hurricane Rita, seeing how people were still trying to recover from that hurricane years later. It's just another example of the power of Mother Nature. Anytime you see storms that big and that destructive, it just reminds you just how powerful weather can be. And as far as the predictions for the hurricane season, I always like to use the example of the hurricane season of 1992, I believe. There was only one hurricane that made landfall in the United States, and that was Hurricane Andrew, and it did extensive damage. So it doesn't matter if we're forecasting 20 hurricanes or just one hurricane, you need to be prepared during hurricane season and really all year long, because we can see hurricanes any given time of the year, but they're most common, of course, during the summer. So just be prepared just in case, because it only takes one hurricane affecting you to be a big deal for you. And obviously, we're going to be here covering any type of tropical system that threatens the Piedmont for sure. You can definitely count on that.
Some people are weighing in on this on our Facebook page. Tim Rika says, who remembers Hugo? I don't know if you remember that one, Taran. Also, Charlie says, I was without power for 3 days back in 1996 when Hurricane Flan or maybe Fran hit. And then Sharon says, I remember Fran. Okay, that's what I thought. Sharon says, I remember Fran most for local impact. Sometimes when we're typing away, we, can make some mistakes, but we got you. We understand what you're saying, Charlie. So do you, either one of you, remember those? April says, I remember Hugo in 1989.
I remember Hugo and Fran. I mean, I'm not old enough to remember all the details of Hugo, but being a weather nerd growing up, Hugo was one of the hurricanes that people talked about a lot when I was a kid. And then Hurricane Fran in the 90s, I believe, just kind of sitting back watching that from a distance growing up, that obviously was a major one, especially for the Outer Banks, if I remember correctly.
What about you, Megan?
Yeah. So I believe Hugo happened in 1989, and there are a lot of people I met when I was on the coast covering Hurricane Matthew who were still talking about the impacts from Hugo all those years later, and then having to prepare for Fran and some of these other big storms that have continued to hit some of the same areas. Taran, I believe North Carolina is the third likeliest state to get hurricanes behind, is it Texas and Florida?
Yes, that would be it. Florida has a coastline basically everywhere in Florida. So they're the most struck state. And then Texas has a really long coastline as well. And the thing about North Carolina is we usually get kind of a glancing blow from these systems, just because if you look at the coastline of North Carolina, it kind of juts out there. And so hurricanes can kind of clip the Outer Banks or clip the eastern part of the state. So yes, we're the third most struck state in the union as far as hurricanes are concerned.
That's I'm not going to be worried about it. We'll be just fine. I mean, considering this is my first time to live in a state with hurricanes, but I do want to mention Megan. Wanda said she also agrees with you, Florence. She said that's her mother's name, so it's stuck with her for her to remember. And a lot of people are also weighing in about phase 2. And how we are going to see a lot of places open tonight at 5 o'clock. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get to our morning headlines, Megan.
Yeah, let's lay out what is going to open and what's not going to open in this modified phase 2, which starts at 5 o'clock tonight. So more businesses are breathing a sigh of relief now that they can reopen under this new order. But it looks a little different from the original phase 2. The stay-at-home order will lift, and instead Governor Cooper enacted what's called a safer at-home recommendation. He says this is due to the number of COVID-19 cases still increasing, and yet seeing a flattening of the curve as far as total tests per positive test. The bottom line here is just because stores are open does not necessarily mean you want to go out without the proper precautions. Here's what phase 2 looks like in the form of what can open. Restaurants, the dining rooms at capacity, or half capacity rather, beauty salons, pools, and more. They also must put social distancing rules in place. As far as what's going to stay closed, bars, gyms, movie theaters, bowling alleys. Indoor gatherings must be 10 or fewer people. Outside gatherings must be 25 or fewer people. Phase 2 is set to end on June 26th at 5 p.m. WFMY News Candace Red did a little digging on how restaurants plan to keep dine-in guests safe. Let's check in with her.
We're at Herbie's Place on Battleground Avenue in Greensboro, and giving you a look behind me, you can see the 24-hour restaurant is preparing to reopen the dine-in area after only offering guests takeout over the last 2 months. where right now you're looking at video of restaurants already serving dine-in customers in other states. Well, North Carolina will move into the Safer at Home Phase 2 plan today at 5 p.m. And at that time, all restaurants can open and offer dine-in service with safety and health guidelines. Now, restaurants must follow social distancing measures, minimize exposure to COVID-19, use cloth face coverings, and clean and disinfect frequently. Restaurants must also monitor staff for coronavirus symptoms and protect those considered most vulnerable to the virus. Well, Kendall Humphreys is the manager of Herbie's Place, and she says the diner is taking the necessary steps to keep both staff and guests safe.
We have every other booth shut down in our restaurant, so every other booth is blocked off so that there are 6 feet in between every table. All the servers and cooks will be wearing face masks at all times. We'll be wearing gloves when we're serving you your food.
Now, even though all restaurants can reopen and offer dine-in services starting today at 5 p.m., Herbie's Place plans on reopening and offering dine-in services on Saturday at 7 a.m. And that's simply because the manager says they need extra time to prepare to ensure everyone's safety in the new normal. But for more details on this, all you have to do is visit our website. That's WFMYnews2.com.
The initial plan for Phase 2 included bars and breweries, but this new plan did not give these businesses the green light. Here's the deal. Bars can reopen if they serve food. If not, then bars must remain closed. We did speak with several breweries, and they are happy about the decision. Some owners say this gives them more time to prepare. Others tell us they would rather open when COVID-19 cases are down. Unemployment across the nation and in the state is up. To help, the state is hosting a statewide virtual career fair this week. It runs through today, and you can meet with employers online who are looking to hire. You can connect to the virtual fair anytime throughout the day. Plus, you can find booths online specific to what you're looking for. Head to c2cjobfairs.com for more information. And we have been asking you on our Facebook stream, do you plan on eating at a restaurant or going to a salon anytime soon? As places come open during Phase 2 starting tonight at 5, a lot of people are weighing in. I will just kind of go through some comments really quickly. Robin says she has a hair appointment on the books for Monday, so she is already getting to it. Another comment from April says, no, I will not be. I can still wait. She already says that she has an underlying health condition, so she's already limited to what she can do. And another comment coming from Mina says, no, no, and no. Marie says, why can gyms not open? Space out workout areas and limit with clients. So I'm going to start with you, Tran, to see your reaction to what's going to open in Phase 2 and kind of what your plan is.
Well, you know, as I've been kind of mentioning all along here, I'm the type of person that I'm going to kind of lean on the expertise of people that actually know what they're talking about, which are infectious disease experts. If they have given their advice and they believe that it's too soon to open up everything, then I'm going to lean to what they're saying because, again, they know what they're talking about. But as far as personal plans, you know, my wife and I have continued to go out and try to patronize the local restaurants that we love that are doing takeout. We're probably going to continue to do that as much as we can. We've been tipping as much as we're able to as well when we go. Other than that, we're going to try to, still stay in as much as possible, but at the same time, we're hoping that things get back to whatever you want to call normal, because there's no such thing as normal, but whatever you want to call normal, hopefully we can get back to that sooner rather than later, so we can get things going back in a positive direction for everyone, again, sooner rather than later.
And Megan, what about you?
Well, I want to address some questions here coming in on our feed. Nadine asked, with Phase 2, parks are open, right? Limit of 25 people. So Nadine, parks were allowed to reopen under Phase 1. A lot of them did choose to do so. However, some of the state parks have been implementing some capacity restrictions. I don't believe it's a limit of 25 people, but we saw Some parks like Hanging Rock and Pilot Mountain tweet out over the weekend that they were full and turning cars around because there were too many people trying to drive up and hike the same trails. So you can probably expect some of those precautions in place at parks this weekend if you're going to take the family. So make sure you try to go early or maybe later in the day if you want to be guaranteed access, or at least more likely to get access to the parks. And then we also had another question, let's see, from Marie. Why can't gyms open, space workout areas, and limit with clients? Well, Marie, a lot of gym owners are asking the same questions, and movie theater owners as well, arguing that they could potentially more easily social distance people than, say, stylists could at their salon. So those are questions we're continuing to ask. But as far as now, gyms and movie theaters are going to be in phase 3, and the earliest that could start is June 26th. Now, as far as what I'm going to do this weekend, well, we don't have any concrete plans. I was kind of seeing how this all shook out. As far as I know, I'm going to just enjoy the nice weather because it's going to be beautiful. So tired of all this rain, and I cannot wait to go for nice, gorgeous walks in the sunshine.
I could not agree more. And speaking of, let's just go ahead and get the forecast because we are anxiously waiting for it, Taran.
Yeah, everyone's looking forward to drier weather, and we will see things kind of get drier as we go through this afternoon on, and well, through the most of the day today before we see rain chances go up this afternoon. But it's not going to be as widespread as it has been the past few days. I think right around 50 to 60% of us will see rainfall this afternoon and this evening. A few of the storms could be strong as we go through the evening hours. Of course, we'll watch that for you. Temperatures tonight in the upper 50s to low 60s. And for the weekend, I'm going to call it mainly dry, but keep in mind we could see a shower or thunderstorm pop up at any given time in any given location. It's just that the chance of that happening in your neighborhood is lower, only around 30%. However, if you do have outdoor plans through the weekend on into Monday, just make sure you keep an eye to the sky just in case. High temperatures this weekend, warming up in the low to mid 80s. And I think we'll see a decent amount of sunshine as well this weekend outside of those pop-up showers or storms. By Monday, the rain chance down to 20%, temperatures cooling down into the mid to upper 70s. And then we'll see temperatures warm up again into the 80s as we go through the middle to the end of next week. That's a quick look at your 7-day forecast.
Weather, so we cannot wait for that. Of course, every week on the Good Morning Show, every Friday, we like to take a look back at some of the lighter moments of the week. Oftentimes you find us laughing at ourselves or cracking some jokes, so we all need a little positivity. So thanks for tuning in. We'll leave you with the best of GMS. Have a great holiday weekend.
Do I have to get to the forecast? I want to go back and talk about those favorite restaurants, okay?
I mean, I could talk about food all day.
Do I have to narrow it down to one? That
yes.
is going to be next to impossible. Okay, all right, so I got that out of my system. Now let's do what Ed's here for.
Guys, I hope you had a great weekend. It was beautiful. We tackled the slip and slide, which is why I have this big bruise on my arm. Slip and slides are not made for adults. Let's just say that.
Check this out. So someone snapped a picture and posted it on Twitter saying, if you don't dip your pizza in milk, I don't trust you.
So Taran, your face looks disgusted.
I am. I've never tried it, but I'm still going to knock it. There's no way in the world I'm going to ever dip like pizza, regular pizza in milk. The cheese on the Oreo, come on, y'all. Just no. I guess one gross thing I like, though, that some people don't, I put mayonnaise and ketchup on my hot dogs all intermixed together because it tastes delicious.
We want to know, what have you purchased during the pandemic? Guys, what have I not purchased? Okay, I am a true believer of retail therapy. I think the best purchase probably during the pandemic is a Roomba. It is by far my favorite thing right now.
I thought you were going to say your house. Your new house was a purchase during...
Oh yeah, that too.
But the Roomba, that trumps everything, you know. Don't worry about that. Tomorrow, the sun will come out Saturday.
Fingers crossed.
That's right.